Welcome to the New York Weightlifting Podcast. I'm James McDermott, joined by Sara Soto, and we have two special guests on here with us today. New York WSO representatives, Michelle Woogen and Erica Caso. Michelle, how you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yep. Erica, how about you?
Good. Yeah, thank you for having us. I'm excited to be here. This is
And
actually my first time on a podcast.
What? Podcast PR.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Look at that. Michelle, is this your first time doing a podcast?
No. When I used to work in Syracuse, NPR was based out of the hospital, so I would interview with them about work. So,
that's really cool.
I've done that, but never weightlifting, so I'm excited.
Yeah, weightlifting podcast PR. Awesome. Cool. Sara has done many podcasts now. She's a professional podcaster. Sara, how are you doing?
I'm doing just fine. Yeah.
just fine. Yeah. I'm doing just fine too. I'm on my second coffee of the day, back to back. Like I'm talking make a coffee, refill the coffee, and go into cup number 2. I don't think I've ever done that before. Normally it's one coffee, several hours later, another coffee. I'm not a back-to-back person.
So
and
I only am at meets.
In the cold.
Yeah, meets. That's it. That's the only time that ever happens for me.
Yeah. No, I'm usually like back-to-back coffee and then I'm done. So like noon, I try to be done drinking coffee around this time. So I have moved on to water now in my day.
It's funny how it's like the first portion of the day is all caffeinated, somewhat drink. And like, I'll drink water later, maybe when I work out,
Don't get around to it.
Yeah. I did see a thing though, where they were talking about hydration and how the liquid in the coffee counts for your daily hydration. It's still liquid. It's still water. And this has been hotly debated. Because like, I remember back in like 2013, they were like, no, coffee's a diuretic. It dehydrates you. It doesn't help with all that stuff. And now I'm seeing things that's flipping. I don't know who to believe. I'm still going to drink the coffee.
I kind of, from like a nutritionist standpoint with like some of my clients, I approach it as like, how much coffee, water, like where are we at? So if it's someone who like really struggles to drink water, I'll start off with like, okay, we can count maybe like if you're like, I drink 5 cups a day and I'm not really drinking any water, you're like, all right, let's count maybe 2 of those cups towards it. And then we'll like work towards not counting it,
Yeah, baby steps.
Try and balance it out.
Yeah, that's
great.
Funny
strategy. Though, James, because like whatever. My mother made me do Weight Watchers in high school, and so we're talking like 1998, and that was the thing. You had to drink 6 cups of water at least every day. 8 was like a bonus. And if you drank a coffee, you weren't allowed to count that because that was like, they kind of considered that to be like a negative glass of water. And the science of that like didn't make sense to me, but I was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
To an extent, like it's still liquid. You're still taking in a liquid, but it's not the most hydrating liquid. It's not.
Interesting. We're going to have to, we're going to have to look deeper into this for sure. But what's everyone's go-to cup? What are you putting in your coffee? This is like you only get one for the day. Let's say this is it. What is your go-to cup? Let's go. We'll go around the screen here. Michelle, go-to cup of coffee, if it even is coffee. It could be tea.
So it is, but it's got to be decaf. I'm not supposed to have caffeine. But I'll be a bit of a rebel and do a half calf. Whoa.
Ooh.
So,
all right.
But we are really big in like to getting good beans. So like whenever we travel, we try to find some yummy beans. We grind our own. So I sometimes add a little bit of milk, but usually the coffee is so good that you can just leave it be as it is black as half calf. Shh, I'm not supposed to say that. My doctor can't listen to this. Okay, thanks.
Okay. We can't send it to the doctor. I had no idea half calf was even a thing. I know there's decaf and then whatever else is out there. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. There's a coffee shop around here that I love. And during the pandemic, they switched to online ordering and they didn't have the option of half calf. So I DM'd them and asked them if they could add it to their menu. And they were like, oh, we'd never even thought of that. So they have it now because of me.
Look at that. Changing the world.
That's right.
In weightlifting and coffee right there. Erica, how about you?
So I'm just black is how I like it. So I do make coffee at home for the most part. And I get like the Starbucks Sumatra. It's just like a little bit less like acidic, but so we really like that one. But I'm just black is how I take it.
Okay.
Once in a while, there's like one day a week I'm at the gym early in the morning. So I'll treat myself to like a fun coffee. And it's called a coffee infusion, which is basically just like an ice cap from like Tim Hortons. But I'll do that with like caramel and whipped cream. But that to me isn't really like a coffee. That's just like a fun beverage that I have. But if it's coffee, it's just black.
It's funny, like you see what people get for coffees out there in the world. It's like, that's not a coffee, that's a milkshake. I know a milkshake when I see one. You know, I have a lot of experience with those. And that is
I
not
do
what
like
that
watching.
is.
I come across a lot of like Instagram videos of like baristas making coffee. And so often it's like there's this much coffee and then like this much milk. Like, and it's like, okay, you're just having milk is what you're having.
Have you seen the video? If it ever pops up my feed again, I'll share it with you. They pump in the syrup first. And it's at Dunkin' Donuts. It's like 23 pumps of syrup. And it's just this clear, like glue looking liquid. And then they put in sugar and all this stuff. And like half the cup is filled. Then they put in the ice and then a little bit of coffee, like you said. And it's like, now I don't want to drink that at all. That looks so gross. I bet if you showed the customer what they were ordering, they'd be like, you know what? I'll just skip it.
Yeah. And so I actually got into a debate with a friend in college because she was very into those like flavor shots and all of that stuff. And she like would not drink black coffee. And so I was like, so you don't like coffee then? Like you like sugar and flavors and like, that's fine. But you don't like coffee. Like you don't like the coffee taste then.
So some people right now listening are taking that personally.
Like, they are. It's okay. Enjoy your beverage. Enjoy your beverage. It's fine.
Yes, let's just call it a hot beverage.
Yeah.
It's really hot chocolate or hot vanilla, whatever it is you're doing. You know.
Yeah.
Hot vanilla.
Or pumpkin, right? Pumpkin spice stuff.
Yeah.
Hot pumpkin.
Sarah, how about you? What's the go-to?
I'm black cold brew. That's it all the time.
Okay.
I kind of don't even really like hot coffee. I will do it when I have to, but
Will you do cold brew like even in the winter?
yes, I'm one of those people who will like walk to the gym with the cold with my hand freezing off. Yeah, totally.
You should get one of those sleeves that they sell that like goes around the.
I know.
cold brew cups.
I mean, I have koozies for like beer cans. Like I should just use those. That would be smart, Michelle.
Maybe there's a market that like coffee koozies. You make a little.
We need New York weightlifting koozies.
We'll add that to the store.
Do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen them for like our I don't know if you guys know the Vesnas in Arizona. They have a company that they promote in their sleeves, but they're in Arizona, so it's mostly for absorbing the condensation.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Anyway, James, what is your go-to?
I'm doing hot coffee right now because of the season. Like I just want to have something warm in hand. But most of the year it's cold brew coffee, and I have it right here. It's again, I am an offender of what I was joking about before. It is cold brew coffee that I just get made from the store. I don't make it myself. A lot of heavy cream and a 5-ingredient Hershey syrup that I put in there too, because it's a glorified chocolate milk in the morning. It's
5 ingredients in that syrup.
It's all the way over there. It's there's only like it says, you know, like if you go to the store, it says it right in the bottle, 5, and it's just got like the very bare bones minimum stuff in it compared to the other Hershey syrups. They're like, here's our clean Hershey syrup. Yeah. The rest of this is death. Don't buy our death syrup. That's not for you.
Buy our 5-ingredient only one.
Yes. Although you'll be happy to know there's a farm that I order things from, and they make their own chocolate syrup, and it just says cocoa powder and other like clean ingredients. So it's coming on Thursday, and I'm going to try to make the switch to that. That way I'm buying like a local farm made chocolate syrup. So it's made, you know, down, you know, not too far away in Pennsylvania. And it's not coming from Hershey's. It's in a glass jar, you know, because you don't want the plastic and stuff. Yeah.
So you'll have to do a follow-up on the next podcast of how that went.
Exactly.
Yes,
Exactly. We'll have to get those people on the podcast, Sarah. Miller's Bio Farm. They have a lot of things.
All right.
Which
Let's
the
do it.
weird thing was, I bought honey from them, because I use a lot of honey. I'd like to start putting some honey in my coffee too. I also ordered specialty honeys. They have a cream honey. Have you ever had creamed honey?
No, I've never even heard of cream honey.
They like whip it for an hour. They put it in a machine and whip it, and it gets really creamy. And then they like flavor it with like lemon or cinnamon. So of course I ordered both lemon and cinnamon. And you can use it as like a frosting or like a spread on bread or stuff like that. So
Wow.
I ordered that, and I'm testing out potential Christmas gifts. So I'm like, that might be a cool thing to get someone. So I'll try it first. And the weird thing is though, it's like there's a minimum order on the website. So I needed to buy another thing, and I didn't want to buy anything else. So they had these like homemade chocolate chip cookies. The cookies are more expensive than anything else that I got. It didn't make any sense. I was like, these are like organic, way too expensive chocolate chip cookies for like 10 of them. But like a thing of honey was like half the price. I'm like, I don't understand what's happening here. But does anyone know why this might be? The economics of it?
Got nothing.
I guess there's a
labor. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess.
Yep. The labor. Oh, maybe since it's cookies, the love going into the cookies. Probably. Yeah. That's what you're paying for. Like when your mom or someone makes you cookies, they taste different. So, all right. Well,
True.
Look, we're learning about everybody. We now know our coffee preferences. Let's learn a little bit more about Michelle and Erica here. Sarah and I are big WWE wrestling fans, and we ask every guest that come on the show, what would their WWE or wrestling entrance theme song be? And you don't even have to be, knowledgeable about wrestling. It's just, hey, they're going to announce your name and a song will play, and then you come out to the ring or the platform for battle. What would yours be, Michelle?
So I think when my friends listen to this, they're going to laugh, and they already know the answer, because anytime somebody asks me to like play a song or what's your go-to song, I panic and I always just say TI, because going back to like college, I had a management class, 998 of us in that one class, and we all had to burn one song on a CD that represented us. And at that point in my life, I thought TI's whatever you like song was like my song. And ever since then, like that's my go-to song. So it's really not a good explanation why I still keep it, but
hey,
anything TI, you can't go wrong.
Is TI still going?
I have no idea.
Okay, yeah. That's funny. Like some of those artists from like, many, many years ago, you're like, whatever happened to them? Whatever happened to Ja Rule? Does Ja Rule still make music?
I made a comment that maybe Nelly should do the Super Bowl, and my friend was like, no, like he's not doing anything right now. Like he's not relevant. And I was like, I know, but like everyone liked him. Like he's fun. Like he should do the Super Bowl. And they're like, no.
Yeah. If he comes out there, playing Hot in Here or Country Grammar, that stadium's going nuts.
He's got a lot of bangers. I think he should do it. But that's like so many artists from like when we were like in high school, college. I'm like, I don't know what they're doing, but I still listen to them. That
was one of the first CDs I actually like physically owned that weren't one of my parents. And I would listen to it from start to finish, even the little intermissions that don't make any sense. And you're like, I would skip them now, but like you just listen to them and understanding nothing of what he's saying at all, just really liking the songs.
It is funny now, right? Like when you listen to songs like from when you were a kid and you're like, oh my gosh, that's what they were saying. Like I obviously didn't know what that meant or like know what they were referring to.
Yeah. No wonder our parents didn't like it. They're like, what are you playing?
Yeah.
Erica, what would your entrance theme song be?
Okay, so I think same with Michelle. I kind of like panic when people. It's like the minute you ask me like, what would your song be? It's like I don't know any songs. But I think it would be the song "Blind" from Korn. It's got like a heavy little like intro, and then at one point he just starts screaming like, "Are you ready?" And then like in my mind, that's when I would like come out when they say that. Nice. And then obviously there's like fireworks or something happening as I'm walking out to that.
Pyro, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we got to start thinking about the pyro, Sarah.
And it's like Michelle, I'm surprised you also didn't pick a corn song because I know.
I know you would think I would. Also,
Yeah.
my entrance song at my wedding was Metallica, Enter Sandman. So you would think I would
love
like
that.
go
Yeah.
more hardcore, but I just panic at every. I think I tell you this at the gym a lot. It's like, what do you want? I'm like, Ti. Like I don't like. I just always just say Ti.
Yeah.
And it works. I don't know.
There's definitely an underrated era of corn that doesn't get a lot of appreciation.
That's one of the first things Michelle and I bonded over was like both loving corn. Because like I've never really met anyone else that like enjoys them. They're probably my favorite band.
Yeah.
So I
also had those albums.
Yeah.
Yes, good. I went and like one day went to the CD store at the mall and just bought all the corn CDs, all of them. I think it was like my allowance for like months, and I was like, "This is how you spend your money, Beth."
This is a good investment.
It's a great investment. My brother has a bunch of tattoos, and I have none, and we're always like, "We should get a tattoo together." And my only thing I want to do is get the R from corn, the backwards R, like the two of us to get it because he knows how much I love corn, and he like refuses to do it. I'm like, it is the coolest idea in the whole wide world.
I like that idea.
Also, you already have a lot of tattoos. You can get like a silly one, just like hide it in there. Like it's fine. Nobody can
easily hide it.
Blend it in. It's fine.
Where would you put it? Where would you put the R?
Every time I think about it, I feel like I would put it like in the back of my elbow right here. Just something super tiny, but you would see it if I was wearing a t-shirt. So like it would spark up an awesome conversation about corn.
Yeah.
That'd be cool to get a tattoo on your elbows that says "Good Lift." That way, when the referees are looking at your elbows, you subliminally like communicate to them, "No, it was a good lift." Yeah,
good idea.
I'm gonna get that tattoo. Good lift.
Or just white lights, like on.
Yeah. Just like a sticker there. Yeah.
I think if I was gonna get the lights, I'd get one of them red because I don't want 3 lights. I want some discrepancy in my lifts. I want one referee to be like, "No, I made the right decision," and the other two like, "No, you did." Like, that's the kind of result I want in my lifting. Controversy. All right. These are great entrance theme songs. Someday it'd be cool to have a meet where, you can't do it at a big meet, but a meet where everybody can have, like, at least for their first attempt, you play their song when they come out. You just need a DJ to organize that.
Yeah. So this was one of like the first AO series meets I did. So it was either like 2018 or 2019. When you registered, they used to ask you like, what's your like pump up song or like and I really thought they were going to play those songs either like when you were lifting or like when you came out. I was like so pumped for that. No, I don't know what they do with those songs, but
yeah.
That information, it actually is buried in your profile. And this is a thing that people don't pay attention to. I think James and I have talked about this briefly before, but it's like all of that information, like when you register for a meet through bars, like the meet director then has all of that information, like it gets downloaded. So it's like, I have a friend who put something really stupid in for his, whatever, I don't even know, but it comes up every time he registers for a meet, and I'm like, dude, you need to change that.
Yeah,
but
like your
whatever,
whatever, yeah,
right. But it has like your song and like like all of that stuff and like your t-shirt size, like all this information, and it's like people like put that in once when you register as a member, and then like you kind of don't ever think of it again. But that would, this is a really good idea, Erica, because like people get sick of the music at like national meets, and like they're like, especially the refs, right? Because we're sitting there for like a million hours a day in that chair next to the speaker with this music blasting in our ear. And it's like, it would be cool to like have some of the songs like sourced from those lists from people.
Yeah, you can just use them to like make a playlist for that stuff, like in sessions or stuff like that. That'd be cool.
Well, we tried to do that for the state championships. Remember, I texted all of you guys the link to put songs on it, and we had a 17-hour playlist, but we ended up not using that one.
Really?
I've been listening to it, and I've been finding a lot of songs. There's like 100 Taylor Swift songs on there. I think Alyssa added all of the Taylor Swift onto there.
Oh my goodness.
Because she couldn't make the meeting the other night, so I sent her a photo of how she was in the PowerPoint.
Oh, that's cool. Yep. Yep. Congratulations to Alyssa and Owen. They recently got engaged at a Taylor Swift concert, We got to get T-Swift to state championships somehow.
Yeah, right.
If we all DM her and request it, maybe we can get through to someone.
Maybe.
Yep. Sing the national
Lofty
anthem.
goals.
You know. Yep. Probably an expensive goal. All of a sudden, I send USAW the invoice. They're like, "What is this?
Yeah.
$100,000 for a T-Swift to sing the national anthem." It's probably way more than that, right?
Probably way more.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, more questions for Michelle and Erica. We're gonna go rapid fire. Are you ready? It's this or
Right.
that. So, Michelle, snatch or clean and jerk?
Snatch.
Erica,
Snatch.
Sarah.
Snatch.
I'm also gonna say snatch. Wow, no love for the
Yeah.
clean and jerk, man. You know, it serves it right. It serves it right for ruining our dreams every now and then.
Yes.
All right. Michelle, front or back squat?
Back squat.
Erica.
Front squat.
Cool. Sarah.
Front.
Mm.
I'm gonna go back. So we're
Ooh.
split. All right. It's a tie. It's a tie. Right now, people are yelling at their screen or whatever right now, like their answer. We kind of already talked about this a little bit, but we'll do it. Michelle, pre-workout supplement or coffee for training?
I'm technically not supposed to have either, so decaf.
Okay. All right. Yeah. We'll say decaf.
Yeah, yeah, right. Right. Yes.
Erica,
The
This is
Woogen,
for
Woogen
training?
special.
for training. Yep. Now we're on the training.
Pre-workout.
Pre-workout. What's your go-to brand?
I don't really have one. I definitely am guilty of just like, oh, like what's on sale at Wegmans or like, you know.
Okay.
So I've been using a lot like C4 lately. So I
Mm.
do like that one, but I'm not super
Okay.
picky.
You know, that's one Wegmans. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know it's the greatest. I never thought I would see or hear the day that C4 is being sold in Wegmans because I've deep affiliation with Wegmans, and I remember when C4 came out, and you're like, these worlds would never intertwine. That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah.
Sarah.
Coffee.
Okay, coffee. Yep. I'm also coffee or nothing really. I don't take those things anymore. I used to take C4 though. The Blue Raz was my go-to.
Mm.
Let's see here. Favorite book or audiobook? Michelle.
So fun fact about me is I actually hate reading, which is all I do for work. I just read records all day long and write, but I don't like reading. So but I remember in high school, I loved Angela's Ashes.
All right. I've heard of that before. Erica?
I also I don't read as much as I'd like to. I do enjoy reading. I just don't do it as often. But in college, I read all of the Hunger Games, like that whole series, and I really, really enjoyed that.
All right. Hey, we're weightlifters here. You know, we're throwing around iron and heavy plates and stuff. We don't got a whole lot of time to read. Sarah.
Book I would go with, and I would say The Things They Carried by Tim O'Brien.
Okay. All right. Listeners will have to add that to their reading list. Is it science fiction, drama?
No, it's actually it's about the Vietnam War, but I mean it's fiction. That guy actually writes a lot of awesome books, and he's written about his own experiences there in a nonfiction way. But this one, the best. It's like all short stories about it. So I highly recommend it.
Very cool.
Wow. I might actually want to read that because short stories would lure me in if it's not long. I'm like,
Also, wait, I just thought of another one that I read a long time ago, but Tuesdays with Maury. I believe that's what it's called. I read that like maybe even in high school, but that's a really good book. Just like about a guy who starts to go visit like one of his old college professors and just like their meetings together. It's a really good, like, I don't know, like life book. Like it's kind of sad, but like makes you think, and like, so that maybe that would be my favorite.
I thought you were going to say that's like a summary of all the episodes of Maury Povich. And I was like, I would also read that.
Like,
That would be.
Just
That would
every
be
page.
exciting.
You are not the father. Not the father. This is a great book.
And then plot twist, you are the father. Oh.
Yeah, at the end, turns out you are.
And then it'll just be like
So
insert camera running off stage through the back. I'm like, yes, this is great.
Those are always always the best when, you know, you didn't go to school, you're at home with grandma, and that's what's on TV. So you watch that, you know.
Watch a lot of Jerry Springer.
Yes.
Yep. All of them.
Yes.
Wheel of
And
Fortune.
The Price is
of
Right.
course.
Had to watch The Price is Right.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Price is Right, not Wheel of Fortune. That Wheel of Fortune's at night. Price is Right.
Yes.
I'm gonna have to go with see, I don't know the author, but it's called The Relic. It's about a monster in a museum. They made a movie about it. It's not the best movie, but I love it. You know, it's a very poorly lit movie. The lighting is awful. Sarah knows, you know, it's the darkest movie ever. They're like, did anyone turn on a light when you guys are filming this movie? But it's about a monster in a museum, and I love it. So it's great. And it's actually like a one of the only books I've read when you're reading it and you're like, this is legit scary right now, because I can like picture myself walking through the museum at night and there's a creature stalking you and stuff. So it sounds like we need to start up the New York WSO book club. You know, yeah, book club. That'd be fun. And now last one, favorite movie. Very important. Favorite movie, if you have one.
Yeah.
You're on Desert Island. You got one movie and a VCR and a TV. This is the only thing you can watch for a long time. Michelle.
I think it would probably be Tommy Boy, because really anything with Chris Farley I'll always love. But
Classic.
That's also because Erica knows this about me. I can't sit for long periods of time, so I can't get through movies. Like my husband knows if we want to watch a movie, it's going to end up being like a multi-day thing. So I couldn't tell you the last time I saw a movie in one sitting. So it has to be something really funny, and I love Chris Farley. So.
Are you more of a show person?
Yes, and we can't even get through like 30-minute shows without me pausing and being like, I have to go do something, and like, oh, we're gonna go do something, and I just can't sit. I can't focus on one thing. So that's why probably coaching's fun, because it's like always just moving your attention around. So
A lot of action. Erica, how about you?
Oh, I don't know. There's a lot of movies I like. I'm also very like seasonal, right? So like we just finished Halloween. So like from basically like September until like November, I'm like just watching a ton of Halloween movies. Like I like to watch all of the actual Halloweens, like the Freddy's. I watched all of the Screams this year.
Nice.
But if I had to pick like one, I do really love Christmas Vacation. But that might just be like more nostalgic. Like we watch that every year as a family growing up. Like that's just like a tradition. So I think, but I do love that movie. My Cousin Vinny, that's a great movie.
Oh yeah.
I love that one.
You were serious about that? That's such a great.
Or Best in Show. I love ones like that, like a mockumentary. Like that's like, I like that kind of style.
It sounds like you like movies where you can tell they had a lot of fun making it. Like imagine doing Best in Show. Like you probably had such a good time.
Yeah, right. That had to be so fun to film. Like so fun to make.
Very cool. Very cool. And it's the Christmas Vacation. I always feel bad for the neighbors. Like they really didn't do anything, and their life is crumbling apart across the street. You know, and I really feel bad for them.
Yeah, and I have this memory of like when I was little, you know, like weirdly my family would always watch it around Thanksgiving. We'd watch that movie like kicked off the Christmas season. And so I remember like going to my one aunt's house, and one of my aunts who, you know, has long since passed away. She was very older at the time, but like she'd be sitting like 2 feet in front of the TV with it turned all the way up and the subtitles on, like just watching this movie as the rest of us are like eating dinner. So I feel like reasons like that, I really like that movie because it just like reminds me of like my crazy family when I was a kid, you know.
My dad would always watch A Christmas Story on Christmas, and I feel like, you know, TBS plays it on repeat. So it actually like is such a great thing for me to watch on Christmas, because not only is it nostalgic, but because I can't sit through a movie, I know I'll just come back and I'll just be like, oh, picked up where I left off. Great. And it's just...
Michelle watched the whole movie 4 times through.
Exactly.
Nice.
It's so built for me.
They're actually going to be playing that at Regal over here next month. It's going to be they've been bringing back a lot of classics. On Sunday, I just watched The Fifth Element, Sarah, and that was that's one of my favorites.
Yeah,
that's on my letterbox. That's one of the only ones that has a 5 rating because it's one of my favorite movies of all time. Sarah got me addicted to Letterboxd. It's an app where you can rank your movies and like kind of collect all the ones that you've watched, and
Okay.
I'm obsessed with it. So,
Oh,
and I'll
this
actually,
one's got 5.
oh yeah, I'll go on to Netflix, Sarah, and I'll just scroll through, seen it, rate it, scroll, seen it,
Yes.
rate it. You know,
Yes.
just to bump up my numbers a little bit.
Totally. Yeah.
Sarah, favorite movie, Sarah?
I think we've talked about, but Jaws.
Oh,
Yes.
classic. That's such a good,
one.
yeah.
So good. So good. Bruce.
I bet I can
Bruce's
guess
name is her.
James's, but I want to hear what
Oh,
James, because this is the other
no.
thing too. We have like our top 4 or whatever, right? What's like
Yeah.
in Letterboxd, pick your top 4, and it's like
Oh.
I could pick any one of those, but so I'm going with Jaws today.
In my letterbox, it's only a handful, like maybe 4 or 5, that have a 5 rating, but only one of them is favorited to set it apart from the rest. What do you think it is, Sarah?
I'm gonna guess The Thing.
Yep, John Carpenter's The Thing. Yep, that is my favorite movie. It is amazing.
I don't think I know what that is. What is that movie?
It takes place in Antarctica. They dig up an alien that crash landed millions of years ago, and it can absorb people and form itself into them. So if it gets Michelle alone, it can absorb you, and it comes back out and knows everything you know. It acts like you, but it's not you. And now the rest of us don't know that.
Yeah, that's a really good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Classic Kurt Russell. It's
That's
so
right.
good. So good.
It's very.
I gotta
good.
watch that again. That's my Christmas.
I know.
I'm gonna watch that on Christmas. All right. Well, look at all that we're learning, all the stuff. Let's talk a little bit about weightlifting. A little more. We know that Michelle and Erica are from Western New York. You know, you guys are Western New York regional rep, athlete rep. There's a lot of snow out there. There's the Buffalo Bills, who just had quite the win. All right, before we talk about weightlifting, how pumped were you about that win on Sunday?
It was very exciting.
Right? Yes.
Yep.
I wasn't even home. I was actually in DC, and I went and found a sports bar so I could watch it. And I was maybe one of 3 people in there who were cheering, and like we were like the 3 people just screaming. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so they ended the Kansas City Chiefs streak, right? They were undefeated.
Yeah. Which I felt was like the most exciting part about them winning. Like, yes, I'm happy they won, and happy that they took away being undefeated by the Chiefs.
Yeah. And,
I don't follow football at all, but I appreciate that.
And, you know, T Swift probably wasn't happy about that. You know, so this is it's a sensitive subject. You know, should she ever listen to the show? You know, the Bills beat the team. They didn't beat the Swifties. That's a whole different thing.
Yes, true.
And I'm excited. This is my first year ever doing fantasy football. And so I have Josh Allen as my quarterback. So I was very excited about that.
Wow. Okay. That's that's a great pick, you know, especially if you're a Bills fan. Do you guys ever go to shovel out the stadium when it's like the epic snowstorm?
I have not gone to do that.
So
would you like to?
If we want to get into the details of it, I actually get kind of grumpy that they do that, because when they need to do that, there's usually a travel ban or a driving ban. So it doesn't make any sense to encourage people to come down and watch somebody who's like like knowledgeable about it. Like, yeah, well, 1992 there wasn't a travel ban, but like in general, there's like it's not safe to drive in those conditions. So it kind of upsets me when they're encouraging people to come down, because we should all be staying safe.
And that's really bad. I know there's
football safety. You know, there's different levels to this when you're a fan.
Which is how a lot of people around here are. And I know there was like a big debate when they're building the new stadium, was like, why not make it a dome so that we can prevent those problems? But then you do have a lot of people that are like, no, but like playing in the snow and the cold, that's what makes them so tough. And, you know, and like, I get it. Like maybe to an extent, it gives us a little bit of an advantage being used to playing those conditions. But I'm sure even the players would appreciate a little bit of a dome. Just we can still, you can open it up. It's fine. You don't have to close it all the time. But
for the record, my husband, Kyle, is one of those people who would hate for us to have a dome. So very much about that's what makes us Buffalo.
Yeah.
Okay. I can see it.
It's unique, you know, pros and cons.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, you guys, from what I've observed, both have home gyms, right?
Mhm.
That you train in, and you
Yes.
also train in a physical gym. So when there is an epic snowstorm, no big deal. I can still get my training in. So that's nice. What's
Yeah.
what are some of the pros and cons home gym versus the main gym, and why do you switch it up? Is it just schedule? You know, you get done with work, I gotta dart out into the garage, get my lifting in. Do you prefer to be at the gym and the home gym is just kind of like, all right, it's just what needs to happen right now? Well, let's talk about it. Michelle, what do you think?
So I have a shred shed because it is literally a shed. So a downfall to it is that there's little space. It's actually kind of scary when I start lifting heavy. I'm worried that if I lose it behind me, I might knock the wall out. But
It probably looks bigger on Instagram, right?
what's that?
It probably looks bigger on Instagram, right?
Probably because when people come and lift, they're like, "I'm gonna come and lift in the shred shed," and because like Kyle got me a sign for Christmas that says shred shed. They'll get there and be like, "Oh wow, like we can't lift together." I'm like, yeah, no, one of us has to like sit on the box jump like in the corner and be out of the way. But it is really convenient, and my schedule can sometimes get crazy with the way that just my work is. So it's really nice to know that I don't have to miss a training session. But I know a big reason why I even started getting connected to, well, now what's Buff City, but going to Erica's gym is that we bumped into each other at the airport in Seattle. And I was like, hey.
I was saying that the other day. I was like, oh, we literally just met in an airport bathroom. Like, that's how, yeah.
Because I'd seen her around at meets and stuff, but at that time she was part of Catalyst, and at that time we both were going to our respective gyms out on the West Coast, Catalyst and Eastside, for training camps, and just happened to be in Seattle taking the same flight back. So I like approached her and I was like, "Is your gym gonna have any kind of like weightlifting?" All right, it's crazy.
I can just like imagine. Like you guys see each other and go to talk, and you both take out your earbuds, and there's a little you can hear corn playing. You know, like when someone takes out their earbud, and then there's that moment. I'm like, did we just become best friends?
Yeah.
Yep. Yep, we did.
You want to go to the shred shed and lift heavy weights? Oh.
Yeah.
But
Erica, have you lifted in the shred shed?
I have not lifted there yet. No.
Very few people have come. It's more like when people are out of town and they're like, "Can I come lift?" I'm like, "Yeah, but yes, but it's small." But anyway, so I had approached her and said, like, "Is your gym going to start having any kind of like weightlifting club space?" Because I was starting to get really isolated and lonely. So I think it's nice to have it, but that being the only option, I realize is not best for me. So.
And you both have the same home gym. What, Quarter Deck Athletics? Is that the name of it, right?
Yeah. Yep. So that's the CrossFit gym that Buff City's out of.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And Michelle, were you going to that all along, even though you guys were both on separate teams at the time? That was still your home gym?
When I started going to Quarter Deck to use it for weightlifting.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry. What was the question?
Well,
again?
before Michelle wasn't coming to that gym before we met. So like we met, started talking about barbell stuff, and then she started coming lifting at the gym. But before that, she wasn't there.
Right.
Got it.
Sorry. Yes.
Got it. And Erica, you just have your home gym just for ease, like if you're busy.
Like timing wise, so I moved into my house in like the fall of 2019, and I have a really nice 2-car garage. And so I immediately knew like, oh, I would like to have like a little like home setup. And so I just started building that slowly, and like perfect timing was like right before the pandemic. And I was like, oh, now that gyms are shut down, like it was really nice to have this space. And so now, like, and obviously now that like, everything's back open and all that stuff, I think it's nice to have the balance. Like there are some days where like just scheduling wise, it's easier for me to just like lift at home. Like Saturdays, for example, I don't go to the gym. I'm off that day. So it's nice to just be I can like wake up, take my time, get out there whenever I need. There's no time constraint, whatever. But it is really lonely to just like lift by yourself all the time. And so there are some days where like it's nice because you're like, oh, I'm either just trying to like move fast, get in and out, or whatever. So it's nice to kind of have that alone time. But for the most part, it's like, no, I'd rather lift with people. And so even at my CrossFit gym, when I'll lift there, sometimes I'm still by myself. Other times, like there are people either weightlifting that are around me or just like other CrossFit athletes that are there doing their own stuff. And so even just that, it's nice to just like be with people, you know, and like have that little bit of like motivation around you. So it's a nice balance.
Is it better for some workouts than others? Like, okay, I can squat at home, but when I'm going to do heavy clean and jerks, I want to have people around in a certain atmosphere.
Kind of. And I even say, even for like, if they're like heavy squats, it is nice to like have the atmosphere and like have people or, you know, stuff like that. But there are times where, I mean, I can definitely fail squats in my gym or, you know, things like I have the space in my garage to, you know, miss and stuff like that. But sometimes I'm alone. It's like, okay, no one's here. Like you have to just like stand this up. Like no one can help you. Like I kind of like play those games with myself a little bit. But yeah, definitely
you have to make it.
Yeah. But definitely when I'm having like a heavy day, it's nice to have people around, you know.
It's also nice to have a home gym because it is a great way to catch up on my trashy TV where I just have like Real Housewives going or Love is Blind is currently going. So
do you find you lift a little bit more assertively when like they're fighting on the like there's a huge argument happening and you're like, wow, I put a little more into that snatch just now.
Well, because sometimes like when I'm recording videos to send to my coach and like I'll be listening and like squats or something and you know multiple squats and I'll be listening to what's happening and somebody will say something dramatic and I'll be like, woo, like in the middle of a squat. And I'm like, well, now I can't send this video because I look like a weirdo. So
when I had some weights and stuff in my mom's basement way back when I was living at home, I used to play The Office in the background. So I'd have a little DVD player and I would just be listening to and watching episodes of The Office while I lift. Not great for training, but like I thought it was fun. So you just gotta keep yourself busy. All right, very cool. Any quick advice you would give someone who's looking to start a home gym and go down that road? Michelle, what one piece of advice?
I think just start slowly. You don't have to have everything immediately.
Yeah, that makes sense. You don't turn it into a professional affiliate or something, right? And spend 20 grand right off the bat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with Michelle. And also, you don't have to have the newest, nicest of everything. Like, look on Facebook Marketplace, buy from friends, get things local. Like, I know it's nice to have like new, nice equipment. If anything, I'd say maybe invest in like a nice barbell, but then like your plates and things like that, you can get cheaply. Like just, you know, get off Facebook or, you know, things like that. You don't have to buy a $3,000 plate set for like day one of being in your home gym.
Yeah.
Don't break the bank.
Yeah.
Right off. Yeah. I mean, I bet it's happened so many times. You break the bank, you use it for a month, and then it sits for a while, and you stop using it, and you spend all that money.
There's plenty of times where it's like a week, 2 weeks, whatever go by. And it's like, I haven't lifted in the garage. I'm lifting at the gym, or, you know, I go out to see my team in Rochester or, you know, whatever. So it's like, you don't want to overspend. And then it's like, oh, I'm not using it as much as I thought I would, you know?
Yeah. And
because sometimes that happens too. Like people think the home gym's super convenient, and it is, but sometimes you get into this mindset of like, oh, I can go out there later. Like I'm going to do this really quick and then I'll go lift later. Like, and it's sometimes almost like too convenient. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, it's like 7:00 at night and I haven't lifted today. And now I'm tired, you know? So sometimes it can be almost a bad thing where like when you're going to a gym, you're like, oh, I signed up to be there at 6:30. I got to be there at that time, you know?
Yeah. It's too easy. And the most important part is actually doing the training, not how the plates look and stuff like that. Yeah. You know, putting the cart before the horse type of a deal.
Yeah.
Okay. Sarah, any questions for the panel here?
What's
our next one?
Sorry, hold on. I had it open now. Okay, so let's see. Well, we have limited time now. So let's talk about Buff City Barbell Club, because that is relatively new. It's interesting because I also I met Erica when Erica was also at Catalyst Athletics, but came down with a bunch of the Catalyst people to compete at the Murder of Crows Open. What was that? 2022 maybe? 23? I don't remember. But yeah, so it's like it's been very awesome to see the like progression for you, Erica, and like how you have gotten so much more involved in you know, like the local weightlifting, and you're moving on up to through national, and it's great to see that you started a club. I love that we have added Michelle to the mix. Like it's been so wonderful. It's really exciting. You guys have a lot going on up there. So yeah, I don't know, Erica, tell us how you came to decide to ultimately form Buff City Barbell.
Yeah, thanks. So it's super exciting. So I started coaching CrossFit in like 2016, and it was like around that time that I also got very into weightlifting, and it was like very obvious early on where I was like, no, I love the weightlifting. Like CrossFit's fun, it's great. I love weightlifting, you know? And so probably in like 2017, I started just coaching like a weekly CrossFit class or a weekly weightlifting class at the CrossFit gym. So it was very much kind of geared towards CrossFitters getting better at weightlifting. So I did that for a really long time. And then obviously COVID happened, things shut down, our gym moved spaces. And then when we reopened up, it was kind of like, okay, I want to take weightlifting, like I want to grow it, but how do I grow it? And like, how do I get either more of these CrossFitters interested in weightlifting, or like, you know, how do I kind of make that jump? And so maybe it was because it was right before Michelle and I connected. So maybe that was like maybe in like 2022, I started doing like cycles. Like, okay, I'm going to do like an 8-week barbell cycle and kind of like take everyone as like a beginner, progress them through weightlifting, teach them how to snatch and clean and jerk. And then I would take a couple weeks off, and then I would do another cycle. And so I kind of did that for a year, just like these 8-week cycles of like weightlifting. And so that got some like really good responses. People seemed really into it, you know, and then it was like, and there was around that time, Michelle and I connected, and she was like looking for a barbell club space. And I was like, I am trying to grow a barbell club. Like I'm trying to, so it was really just like perfect timing. And it was nice to have someone to kind of start that adventure with and kind of take that leap with. And so I like did another cycle, and then it was okay, after this, it's just a monthly thing. Like you just sign up for the barbell club, it's monthly programming. And so I kind of just set some hours for it, where like these are official barbell club hours, like this is when I'm going to meet, and this, you know, that kind of stuff. And so yeah, that's just really kind of how it happened. Buff City, I just, you know, that name, obviously we're in Buffalo, and then like also buff, you know, trying to be buff. So that's how we
Such a great name.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. And yeah, so Michelle and I have just been like working on growing that over the last year, and like getting more people into it, and just really building a solid foundation of like, what is Buff City, our program style, our training style, you know, and that kind of stuff. So.
And it's really cool, like from the outside looking in, you know, the name Buff City, it has all these different meanings, and looking at the training, like it looks like a lot of fun, and weightlifting should be fun. And it's great the way you did it, you know, of course, using CrossFit as a feeder system. I think a lot of clubs that have started did exactly that. You know, I don't think many clubs, you know, of course there's some out there, start strictly with weightlifting. There's always a CrossFit element, you know.
Yeah.
Once you get your base, then you go full on.
Yeah, because that's what Michelle and I talk a lot about, where it's like weightlifting is such a niche sport. And so like, how do you get people to, one, even let them know what weightlifting is, right? I think when you're in something, you forget that there's so many people who still don't even know what that really is, right? Like even now, sometimes you tell people like, oh, I do weightlifting, and they're like, how much do you bench? And it's like, oh, I don't really do that. Or they're like, oh, I also lift weights. And it's like, not the same, you know? So getting people to just like, what is weightlifting? And then once they even know what it is, trying to present it to them in a way where it's not intimidating. I think people see, or they even hear Olympic weightlifting. Like even now, sometimes they'll be like, are you going to the Olympics? And it's like, oh my God, no. Like, yeah, absolutely not, you know? So getting them to understand that like, it is doable for everyone, all levels. It's not as scary as you think it is. You know, just come try it out. You'll like it, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And Michelle, what's your experience been like with the club? You know, you're, correct me if I'm wrong, you're also a coach for Buff City?
Yes. Erica
and an athlete.
Go ahead, sorry.
Oh no, and an athlete for Buff City.
No, I'm not an athlete of Buff City. I have a separate team, but I am a coach there because Erica asked me to come help out. But my husband is an athlete at Buff City. So that's really fun. And I've gotten
That's
to
awesome.
Yeah.
I've been able to coach him at 2 meets now, which is just like really exciting for me because that's a great way for me to learn how to do that part of the weightlifting world.
By the
So-
way, shout out to Kyle.
Yeah.
He's helping out at meets all the time. Great lifting. We love Kyle.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, he's always helping, and like he always would say, like, I want to do this, but until he was a master's, I guess officially this year, anytime he would come with me to the Arnold and he would fall in love, he would like be sitting there calculating how much he needed to like improve because he was a CrossFitter in advance, and he'd be like, I have no chance. So now he's a master. He's like, all right, I'm in. Like now I don't feel like I'm super far behind. But anyway, so I've been able to coach, and I love coaching. I was a CrossFit coach, and then kind of like Erica was saying, I was more interested in the weightlifting component of CrossFit. So being able to shift and become a weightlifting coach is more fitting for me at this kind of era in my life. So it's been a lot of fun.
And that's but related to that, I was going to say, Michelle, you were one of the recipients of the coaching scholarship from the New York WSO, right? So
I was.
Success story.
Yes. Yeah. I was able to get my L1 and like really fun kind of like full circle. Well, maybe full circle. So Leo Totten was the instructor for my L1. And I just had a meeting with him and Adam, the coach of Kenmore Barbell Club yesterday, because Adam wants to host an L2 with Leo. So I'm helping them organize that. And right now our tentative date is the last weekend of April. So I'm just excited to, it just wasn't that long ago that I was like, oh yeah, I think I'll go get my L1 for weightlifting. And then was able to start coaching. And now it's like, and now I'm helping organize an L2, which I then plan to take. So it's just like really exciting to see how things progress.
Well, you guys are doing a great job growing weightlifting out in Western New York. It was kind of an area that was a little gray to us because of the two mergings, Niagara LWC, Metropolitan LWC. Our section of it didn't really know a whole lot of what was happening out there. But I feel like, you guys have been instrumental in making us one cohesive community, just one New York. And the work that you do, goes a long way, and it's certainly noticed by not just me and others and Sara, but I guarantee it, all the athletes out there really appreciate what you guys are doing. Running meets. Erica has been working with Steve Titus to run the WNY regional. So we have a big regional out there, and none of these things would be happening if we didn't have you guys on the ground enthusiastically trying to grow weightlifting, starting up a new club, coaching courses, and just being active and supporting people in the community. It's huge.
Thanks.
Yeah, we enjoy it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you guys are killing it. Now, with Buff City and coaching in general, I'm sure you guys have had some challenges. So what are some obstacles that you guys have experienced in your coaching journeys? And it could even be officiating too. And how did you overcome those challenges? Michelle, we'll start with you. What was one tough thing, if anything? Maybe you're like, no, I'm just a badass. No problem.
Everything's super easy. No problems ever.
Never, guys. It's me. Somebody the other day was like, oh, that was a good answer to whatever I said. And I was like, yeah, I only have good answers.
Yeah, obviously.
No, I'm just kidding. That's from a movie that I did watch, Grandma's Boy. No, but I think actually, so it kind of goes hand in hand, coaching and being a TO, where it's acknowledging where I still don't know things, but not losing my confidence in the ability to teach what I do know, do what I do know as far as TOing, and not feeling like I'm some like total fraud. So it's like, yes, I'm fully acknowledging I'm going to be able to grow and learn. There's so much more to always learn, but
would you say that's would you say you struggle with like imposter syndrome? I think is the term most people use.
Well, I don't know if I would struggle with it. I think it's easy, like when something happens, to kind of be like, okay, I don't really know what's going on there. And I know other coaches who are more seasoned, or like other refs who are more seasoned, would like know what's going on. They know what they see quicker than me, but it's like, yes, but everybody had to start somewhere. So at some point, those same people were in my same shoes, and I'm only going to be able to get to that point if I keep pushing myself and trying to learn and ask questions and practice. So I think like struggles and ways of overcoming it was like struggles of not giving up or like feeling like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh my gosh,
So
and it's never going to go away, by the way.
There's so many like
I believe it.
I don't mean little as like not important, but they're in weightlifting. There are so many like kind of like little rules that like, oh, you don't really realize that until you're like deeper in it. So I know, especially with you getting like more into TO and going for like your national and stuff like that, like you're learning all of these like little rules and stuff. So it's like like you're saying, like being confident in what you do know because you know a ton, and then it's like, oh, but I'm still learning these like little parts of it, and then
I just want to be a little Sarah Soto someday.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. There's so many things we're like, we'll just have to ask Sarah. We'll have to ask her what she thinks.
I know.
Let's all get a little die going. Mine will be small.
That's what all the knowledge is.
Yeah. It's in the blue.
It's
in the blue.
Yeah.
I
mean, it never goes
and you have to
away.
allow yourself. Like Sarah said, it never goes away, and you have to allow yourself to fail, and make mistakes. And you can't, like you said, Michelle, beat yourself up about it. Like when we were babies, you fall down on your butt, and you can either laugh or cry about it, and then try again. It's just that part of life never goes away. I think in anything that you would do.
And side note, just because we do have so many TOs here, but it's just like the people, if that happens and you fail, and if somebody is not like actively helping you to like get back up, like don't come back to that person for help or anything. Like that's it. Like like the technical official core for USA weightlifting we all need to remember that like we all need to like help each other out. We're all here to make the athlete experience better. It's not about us. Like, So if anybody ever makes you feel bad, then
no. And I can say, like, just thinking about, I've been recently thinking about my time as a TO. I've kind of gone actually more from like an athlete to a TO. I like thoroughly enjoy TOing now to the point where like I'm not eagerly signing up for things as an athlete. And I think it has a lot to do with the community. It's so fun working with the TOs and like seeing what goes into running a competition and just how everybody supports people. You never feel like you have a dumb question. And if somebody makes you feel like it's a dumb question, it's like, maybe you're not somebody I'm always going to run to because there's always somebody else who's willing to help. So
and it gives you so much more appreciation for meets. Like once you start with them, you're like, oh, there's so much that goes into this. Like there's so much, so it gives you a whole new appreciation for people that volunteered all the meets and do a lot of that stuff and organize it. Like, it's a lot harder than it seems,
You get to see behind.
I know. I remember, like Erica, like I'm like crying, like Erica's growing up, like when Erica like was running her first meet, and she was like asking me questions, and now you're like seasoned pro.
Oh God, far from it, but like but it's been nice, like because then even now, like I go to meets and. Now it's like I'm almost looking at them a little differently because it's like you're noticing some of those behind the scene things, and then you're like, oh, I like how they do this here, and stuff like that, and so
yeah. And when you run into those people who are grumpy, we'll say as the term, that's a them problem, not a you problem, and any community or family or group of people is going to have those types of people. So I'm never surprised by it, and when I run into them, I'm like, oh. I hope they're okay. Like to be this grumpy or this way must suck. I'm glad I'm not. I'm glad I don't have to go home and live in what they're living in. Like you just have to look at it from a different way,
Right.
It is 1:00. How is everybody doing on time?
I'm good.
I do have to leave soon, but
ready for 4 minutes.
More Zoom.
Okay. We got a couple more minutes. Let's most memorable moments in weightlifting. Michelle.
Oh, Erica, I don't know if you got to answer the last question, so I don't know if you want to go first or also answer the.
Oh, that's.
Oh yeah.
Well, for the last one, so just like challenge-wise, from a coaching standpoint, and this is something Michelle and I have talked a little bit about. So right now, I mean, I do some individualized programming for my weightlifters. Like I have a couple people, who do that. But the majority of my people do like team programming. So they're all kind of on the same program. It's a little bit cheaper option for them, which is great. But some of it is taking all of these different backgrounds and kind of blending that into like, how do I come up with a nice program that benefits all of these different people who are at all of these different places in their weightlifting journey, you know? And then even for myself as a coach, there's still things that I'm learning from a coaching standpoint. Like there's times Michelle and I will see an athlete do something and it's like, I see what they're doing. I don't quite yet know how to fix that, but I know I want to fix it, you know, and that same kind of like imposter syndrome. How do you feel as a coach, like, oh, I want to have all the knowledge and all of the answers and know everything. But it's like, you know, I'm still learning and I'm still learning different things work for different people. So how do we make that all kind of blend together, you know? Maybe that's just an ongoing process.
Yeah. It is an ongoing process. And I would say when you see something and you want to fix it and you're not quite sure, a great strategy would be to ask the athlete, hey, why do you do that? Like, why do you do it that way? And they're like, oh, I do it this way because I saw a YouTube video. Okay, hold on. Like, that's, you know,
I've gotten really good at being open where it's like, something seemed off about that lift. I'm not sure what it was. Something was off. Let's just do another one, you know? So I try to be really open with like, something seems off here. Like, we got to fix something. Let's do another one, see where we're at. We'll film it. We'll look at it, you know?
Yeah. Ask questions, film it, all that stuff. You know, and give your athletes a little bit of grace. Like I'll catch myself. I try not to say anything during the first warm-up lift because they're like, give me a minute. Like let me remember how to snatch. And like, you're like, hey, you got to get your, they're like, I know, it was 30, 40 kilos, you know, I know.
Yeah.
The programming thing is interesting though, like because my club is only on a team program. Like there really isn't a whole lot of individual programming. My strategy for a long time has been I have my foundation of what we should be doing based on the season, and you know the basics are a big part of that because we always need to be working on the basics. None of them are advanced level athletes. You know, to the highest degree where they need 100% everything to be individualized for them. Right. And what I do is put the individual component in by, all right, Miguel needs to work on this. So I'm going to program this exercise in for everybody so he can get better at it. And if Haley's really good at this thing, she can get even better at that. We can push the weights more on that thing. So I'll kind of look and almost try to pick like one thing that each of them needs and see if it fits within the program, and then everyone benefits from it. And then I can try to level them all out to some extent. That's kind of been my strategy with it. Like,
it's a good idea.
Or just assume, all right, if one of you is struggling on this thing, we're all struggling on it now because we're a team. So we're all going to go through the pain of fixing it, you know, with Bulgarian split squats or whatever it is, something they don't want to do, you know.
Never hurts. Never hurts.
Right. That's right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Very cool. All right. Wow. Well, yeah. Great challenges. And I think the cool thing is that we're all still experiencing it. You know, weightlifting is one big challenge. It's one big puzzle to kind of work out.
Which is kind of the nice thing about there's always something to fix, you know, always something to tweak a little bit. And even whether that's like, all right, now I just want to lift heavier or what, like there's always going to be something that you want to like fine tune in there.
Right.
Yeah. And you know, all of us on this call, we are by nature, because we are TOs and coaches and stuff, we are fixers. So it's like sometimes that can prop up in your life where someone's like, you know, like your mom or your brother or someone calls you or your significant other and they're like, I have this problem. And you're like, I have a fix for that. And they're like, that's not why I'm talking to you about it. I didn't want your 7-week plan on how I can change my life. I just wanted you to listen. And in that regard, listening as a coach can be a big challenge because you see a problem like we're hammers and everything else is a nail. You're just like, got it, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's great. And even with that, sometimes noticing, we've all been there, we're like, sometimes you just have a bad day. Like, you know, you're doing something you shouldn't be doing and it's whatever, but it's just an off day. And so that balance of like, yeah, we want to like kind of hammer this and fix it and whatever. And then also realizing like, you know what, today's not the day. We're just going to back off a little bit. Because you don't want anyone to not enjoy it anymore, right? Like, even when we're having bad days, you don't want to be like, oh, I'm sucking at this. And coach keeps saying I suck at this. And I already feel crappy or, you know, whatever it is. So like kind of noticing that like, all right, today's not the day to like go hard on these things. We're just going to lift. We're going to just have a good day. We'll fix it
Right.
another time, you know.
And for the record, though, I've never heard Erica ever say to anybody that they suck. So in case anybody thought maybe that's what she was saying, not the case.
And hey, you know, some athletes want that and respond to that. They're like,
Yeah.
I want you to. I don't understand it either, but some athletes want that, and they're like,
Well,
yeah, all right, I'm going to prove Erica wrong now. You know?
as a psychologist by day, those people I want to sit down and be like, "Are you okay?
Yeah.
What are we? What's going on?" But
Oh yeah, you know,
Yeah.
perfect. So memorable moments in the sport of weightlifting, Michelle.
I'm not saying this because Sarah's here, but it's actually fun that Sarah's here. So I did the Murder of Crows earlier this year, and my dad has never come to any of my meets, and he's from the Bronx, so we were able to go out, like both meet up in the area, stay with some family, and he got to come and watch, and I happened to like do a lifetime PR snatch and matched my best clean and jerk, so then it was a lifetime total PR. So it was just really fun for him to see that. And Alice, who I met on my platform at Worlds, I forget what year that was. Now we've become like really good friends. And so she came and lifted, and her coach was able to coach me there. And so it's just like one of those moments where like, not only was it fun, because that's always my goal in any meet is to just have fun, which usually for me produces good performance and results. But it was like fun with like the environment and the friend that I was sharing the platform with, and my dad was there, and my husband was explaining the sport to my dad. It was just, and Erica was lifting in the next session, so she was in the audience. So it was like just this really great weightlifting moment.
That's awesome.
Yay.
The cheering at the New York City meets is always through the roof. I think Sarah buses people in from Yankee Stadium. All right, you didn't get in. Come over here and cheer for these.
Come watch
these
this event instead. Yeah.
Yeah. But Michelle, you've pulled off one of the impossible feats of getting a family member to come watch a weightlifting meet. Like I'm always begging I'm not begging, but like I'm like, hey, are you going to bring your mom and dad, or is your husband or boyfriend? Are they going to come watch it? No, I didn't ask them. I didn't even tell them I was doing this. I was like, why? Why? It's the state championships. Yep. Why isn't anyone coming to watch? I don't understand.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, I had just mentioned that I was going to be there, and he was like, "Oh, come." And I was like, "Oh, like, I guess I just assume parents get so anxious that you might get hurt." Because he would always call and be like, "Good luck at your meet. Don't get hurt." I'm like, "That's always the goal, Dad, but I can't guarantee anything." So it's like, it was just nice that he came. So yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh man. I like
Erica,
the
how about
disclaimer. I can't guarantee it.
Never. I'm never trying to. Yeah. So I guess maybe I have two. One was in 2018 was the first time, like I just new-ish to weightlifting. That was the first time I had qualified for one of the AO series meets. And I unfortunately bombed at that meet, which was also my first time bombing. So really sad, lots of tears. And then, so that was like in the fall-ish of 2018. And so I was really determined to like come back and do better. And so, I signed up for the Arnold, which is always like in March. So, it was a couple months away. And I ended up going 6 for 6 at the Arnold. I hit like, a snatch PR, a clean and jerk PR, and I got drug tested, which made me feel so cool. I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. You think I'm so strong. Like I was so excited to be drug tested. I was like, this is so cool. I'm like asking all these questions. So that was really a highlight for me, which I thought was fun. But really, in general, I love the people that like weightlifting has brought to me. And like, I remember back in like 2016, looking at like Greg Everett's free online programmings, and I'm like watching his YouTube videos and doing that. And then it's like, fast forward, I had the opportunity of being on the Catalyst team, and being coached by Amy and being around those people. And, now I'm with someone who's more local with, like with Brennan and like his team. They're people I've seen at local meets for years. And I was always like, oh my God, like they're so strong and so good. And like, so it's just really cool where it's like all of these people where it's like I kind of had seen them from the outside or, and then it's like, oh, you get into this little sport that you think like, who even knows what weightlifting is? It's just this little niche sport. And then it brings you so many cool people and experiences. And so like that's what I really love about weightlifting, is just like the people you meet, the experiences you have. So
yeah, I love that too, that you brought that up, because it's like the community gets so small, but like in such a comfy way, which is like, you just meet people that you think you would never have the opportunity to like meet and talk to, and they're like really not that far out of reach to you. And I remember when at the Arnold this year, I texted Erica like frantically, because my then coach was chit-chatting with Cheryl Hayworth and just was like, oh, this is Michelle, she helps coach at Buff City Barbell. And Cheryl was like, oh, Buff City Barbell. And I was like, Erica, Cheryl Hayworth just said the name of your barbell club.
She knows our barbell club. Yeah.
It's
something that's so cool. Yeah.
But now it's like, I look back and I'm like, yeah, like just meeting people and introducing yourself. It's actually not that crazy, because that's how cool this sport is, but not everybody knows that yet. So
and that's why going to a meet like the Arnold or any local meet, it's always like a little family reunion. You're like, oh, I haven't seen you since the last time we did this, and it's just fun to like talk to people and see what new things they're going on. And then you start to realize that the quote, celebrities, like we might put those labels on people, they're exactly like you. They're just regular people. They got to go pump their own gas. They got bills, like all these things. And just go talk to them. I remember at the Arnold one year, my lifter Haley was like, oh, that's Coach Mary and whatnot. And she's like 20 feet away. I'm like, let's go talk to her. And I'm like, hi, Mary, I'm James. Like this, that I'm like, it's that easy. Just let's just go talk to her. And she's like, oh, hey, it's just funny. And I've never seen anyone that was like snooty or like, oh, I'm too big, or here's my bodyguards, talk to them if you want to talk to me. I don't know, Sarah, have you?
No comment. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Everyone has their moments, but for the most part, it's
right.
Which brings me to, I mean, if you're listening, I am looking for some security, because it is getting out of control now when I'm at some of these things. I can't let people just come on up to the president. So gotta. Sarah, what were you saying?
What was I saying? Oh yeah, just about back to it's like the family reunion thing. I think it was in Wilmington at AO finals last year, and it was like I had gone. My big thing was I wanted a real biscuit, and so I went to some like local restaurant to get like a biscuit sandwich or something like that. And it was like while I was waiting for them to make my food, there was like this endless parade of other TOs coming in, and we all had our blue suits on, and they would like come in and they were either sitting and eating or whatever. But it was like everybody was like, oh, hi, and like giving hugs and stuff like that on their way out the door. And the people at the restaurant, the like locals, were like, what is going on? Like, who are you? I'm like, oh no. I'm like, this is just what we do, because we get to do this like 4 times a year. We all get together and see each other, so it's just like a big family reunion. And they were like, oh, okay, again. It's pretty cool. It's fun.
It's also funny how you get to meet people that you only know on social media. So there's a guy that I follow, and I, like, for the love of me, couldn't remember his name, but I recognized him at
you know his Instagram handle, right?
And so I ran up to him. I was like, is your handle Super Jew? And somebody was like, and I was like, listen, I can yell that. I've got my Zabar's cup right here.
But no, I mean, that's his name. He puts it out there.
Right. That's how we talk. And just like being like, oh my God, yeah, we follow each other. And it was just like one of those moments where you're like, okay, this is like, I feel like I'm at summer camp meeting like my friends and stuff. But it's also like, but I kind of feel like I know you, and now we can feel like friends. It's just super exciting when you get to do stuff like that.
It's a beautiful thing. If you think about it, there's some of these like TOs, for example, they've known each other for 40 years. Imagine doing this year after year, 4 events over, throughout the year. You're from New York, they're from California. You see each other every now and then, and you're like, oh yeah, how you doing? And all the life that happens within that, like, oh yeah, we just had our first kid. Like, oh, that's amazing. Oh, and now all the kids graduating from college. Oh, that's amazing. Like all these things, like it's like we're all of us are like X amount of years into it, but there's people in this community that have been doing this for a long time.
And those tables are so fun to like get your breakfast and go sit with, and just the institutional knowledge of listening to them being like, oh man, do you remember back in the day when like we could only do this? And I'm just like, whoa, wait, that's how far this sport has come. It's just so cool to get that background knowledge too. So another reason I just love TOing in this community.
or the fun stories of when they're on the road, you know, and like, we were doing 100 down this highway and we got pulled up, like those kinds of stories, you know, those are always fun too. You know, I feel like it was a little more like the Wild West back then, you know, some of the stories.
JP Nicoletta has like a million stories like that. Like the New York crew, like from like the New York City, like Queens crew, like forget it. Like amazing stories. Like I have sat at dinners after like board of directors meetings when we all go out after like get food, and like literally it's just like JP telling stories for like an hour and a half. It's so ridiculous.
I love that.
Do we have time for one more question? What do we think? How are we doing?
Yeah, let's see. I have another call at 1:30, so yeah, I should get off.
All right, cool. All right, we got time for one more. So let's segue into that. You know, we've heard, you know, like hanging out with the community, you learn a lot of things, but we've all been given advice, you know, here and there. So what, Michelle and Erica, is the best piece of advice you've been given, either as an athlete, a TO, or just a member of this community? And then what would one thing you would want to pass on in general to the listener be? We'll start with Erica this time.
Oof. Okay. I've been given lots of great advice over the years. And I think maybe that's part of what I want to tell people. Just take in what everyone's telling you. And even if it doesn't all stick with you, bits of it will. But some of the best advice I was given was, one of it is to not put a time frame on your goals. And I think especially, you know, any of you who may be master's age or approaching master's, you know, like I am, I think sometimes we can feel like, oh, I need to accomplish X before I become a master's lifter. And then when I'm a master's, you know, my goals will change or whatever. But there's no time frame of hitting your goals. Yes, there's a difference if you are on path to go to the Olympics and things like that. Obviously, that's different. But for our everyday lifter, people who are just doing this for fun, to get stronger, to get better, there's no time limit. You can achieve your goals whenever they happen. You don't have to make the senior nationals total by a certain age or time frame. I have friends that are approaching 40 that are hitting that total and going to senior nationals and doing that stuff. So there's no limit or expiration date on when you can do those things. And with that, just enjoy it. Like, enjoy the time, enjoy the process. I'm very goal driven and very like, I like to have goals and things I'm working towards, but don't get so caught up in that end goal and just achieving this thing that you miss out on just like having fun lifting and being in the community and being part of it. Because if you're not enjoying that like day in, day out of weightlifting and training and the community and the whatever, either you're not really going to get to the goal, or you're going to get there and it's not going to feel how you want it to feel because you didn't enjoy that time getting there. So I think that would be my advice.
Yeah, that's great advice. You know, it's kind of like when you don't want it to be a situation of where you look at the sandwich on the billboard and you're like, wow, that looks amazing. And then you get it and it doesn't taste or look the way that you thought it would be. You know, that's the way I rationalize it in my brain. Because I've done that a million times. Like, oh, I can't wait to have that thing. You know, but if you don't enjoy the process of the buildup and you fantasize about how it's going to feel a certain way, and then when it doesn't, now you're disappointed, even though you achieved the goal.
Yes. Yeah. And to me, weightlifting it's so much more than just hitting certain totals and achieving big things and whatever. It is like the day-to-day of like lifting with your team and meeting friends and just being at these meets together and just being in that gym environment. And so if you train alone by yourself and that's what you enjoy, that's awesome. But I think the team of it and like the lifting with friends and the being in the community is really what makes weightlifting, you know?
Definitely.
100%.
Michelle?
Man, I don't know. I go back and forth of like, what would I say? What would I say? I think one, I would definitely put in a plug for people who haven't already completed the referees course through bars, like to definitely do that, to get involved. Because it's so
love you.
fun.
Thank you.
Like, not only like I'm saying this because it like just my mind's been blown how much fun I have helping. Now somebody that I met like through the TOing group will like send me videos or photos of like the athlete cards anytime he's filling out athlete cards at another meet, because he knows I fell in love with like that little small process, but it's just like funny how many things I absolutely love behind the scenes that I never knew I would, but also like it helps you be a better athlete to understand like when something happens, you're like, oh, I understand the systems issue with that, like why that might have happened. And you're just able to conceptualize what's happening. And you can kind of move on in competitions. So I think it also just benefits you as an athlete, even if you don't want to like become as obsessed with TOing as I have. But so not only that though, I would say also from like a coaching perspective to just really be sure to communicate with your coach. You know, sometimes something will start happening and it's like, why is this person doing this all of a sudden? You're trying to like nail, hammer, fix it. And it's like, oh, it turns out your hamstrings are super tight and you're not able to get into position. But I didn't know that, you know, you went and played another sport yesterday and that you're not like super sore. So now I'm not going to try
That's
to fix
always
it.
the best.
Yeah, right. So it's like just making sure to communicate what's going on. It also helps you as an athlete realize like, oh, because now that I communicated this with you, it's going to make it so that my coach and I can work together to figure out how I can best get through the session. And I don't feel like I suck because I'm starting to miss everything because something's off. So I think, yeah. So it's an athlete and the TO piece of advice.
Well, and what's the best advice you've been given as well? So that's advice you're passing on. What's something someone has said to you where you're like, all right, I really needed that and that helped a lot?
I think I had heard somebody like in some YouTube video one time saying like, make sure you communicate, which helped me realize too, that for me, it was like, that forces me to be introspective of what's going on with me. Like how stressed am I by the day? How tired am I? Did I not eat enough? Did I not drink enough water? Or assuming you count your coffee as not water. You know, just trying to like understand how am I doing, and then how do I communicate that with somebody. So I think it's helpful. Like I say that because as a coach, it's helpful to know that, but also by taking that advice myself, it's helped me to become much more aware. So when I have a bad lifting day, I'm able to be like, okay, did I actually just completely forget how to snatch? Or is it that these things that maybe were in the peripheral, but I wasn't giving them enough credit for how much they're actually impacting me. So
I think sometimes we forget how much like just life stress or like a bad day at work or whatever can impact your lifting. You know, and then you're like, why am I so crappy today or whatever it is? It's like, it's not, you just had a rough day or you didn't sleep well or this happened. Like, you know, it's fine.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The lifts are neurologically driven, and you know, your nervous system and everything can, even just your thoughts, you know, like something going on in the world bugs you, and you know, or you're not happy about something, it all comes down to affecting your performance.
And it's definitely one reason I tell friends I love weightlifting, because it ends up giving me like that immediate like biofeedback of like, my job is very stressful. The stuff that I read day in and day out is like very distressing. And I just have kind of habituated to it, and I will not realize how much I'm being impacted by it. And it's not just weightlifting that will then be impacted. It'll be like, I'll be snippier in conversations with people, or, you know, I'm not like prioritizing sleep. And so weightlifting will help me be like, okay, something's off. How can I improve this? Not just for like my session, but my life in general. So it's a super helpful sport too, for just well-being.
Yeah. And see, that's good advice from a YouTube. Yeah, so nothing wrong with YouTube videos overall. And I say that now because also this video will be on YouTube as well. So we're in the mix. Sarah, were you saying something just a few seconds ago?
Oh, I don't know. Doesn't matter. But like related to that though, it's like my hot take is that YouTube, and this is something Brian DeGeneiro and I talk about a lot too. YouTube, not bad. Instagram, problematic. It's like there's something about like the length of time where you can explain something on YouTube. It's like and people are like seeking that out. It's a little better. Instagram content creators, like, you know.
And know who you're getting your information from. No.
Yes.
Exactly. Know your source. Yes.
Yep.
Never before has there been a situation like where you know, Erica and Michelle are coaching their athletes. All right, this is what I want you to work on, and then your athletes are literally sitting or laying in bed at night, scrolling, receiving coaching input from XYZ, so many people. That was never a thing. Never a thing. It used to just be your gym, your coach. They told you what to do. You did it. You went home and you went on with your life. Now you can scroll through weightlifting advice and start to get ideas, and things start to get muddled. And then they come in and they're like grabbing the bar a different way. And it's like, wait, what are you doing now? You've changed your whole technique. Well, I was up all night, which there's problem number one. Watching all these videos of who knows who's giving, like, what has that person done? Who is this person? Why are they making this video? Is the reason they're making this video because at the end of it, they want you to buy their ebook, which is the whole thing.
And there's also realizing that just because you see, like, this happens, just because you see one elite athlete doing something does not mean you should be doing that, right? For every like rule there is, obviously there's going to be people that don't go along with that, right? Like, we're all individual, body lengths, abilities, all of that's going to play a factor. So just because you see this one Olympian doing whatever does not mean that, like, that's what you should be doing, you know?
Yeah. And, you know, not that there's anything wrong with putting on an ebook, which, by the way, on December 1st,
click the link in this bio.
Yeah, click the link in the bio. But it's also like some of those videos and the content, they're very authoritative on like, this is the way. You must do it this way. And it's like, dude, who are you? Like, and then you go and you're like, wait, all right, you got popped at the Olympics. Why is anyone listening to your video? You know, like, that's crazy.
Red flag.
Yeah. And nothing, for anyone listening, nothing is more valuable than going to Quarter Deck Athletics and having Sara or Michelle standing in front of you, giving you live feedback and watching your lift. And more than likely, I mean, I might be going on a limb here, they care way more about you than the person with 1 million followers that they bought. We know they bought them. And we see all the fake engagement in their comments too, who just wants you to buy their program, which, by the way, I have many by the ways. You don't need. You could go on a Chat GPT and write me a weightlifting program, which I've been playing around with Chat GPT. Not with programming, just in asking it anything and everything. But it's a new obsession along with Letterboxd. But you don't need to buy, more than likely, that programming that you're going to buy for $9.99 off of an Instagram link and whatnot is garbage. And it was probably copied from another garbage program for a generalized group that the original guy stole it from someone who actually knew that they were doing. Like, you don't, it's all BS. It's such a lie. Like, it's so crazy, you know?
Ooh, I need to leave. So you guys can keep going if you want to, but I'm going to see you later.
Right.
Bye, guys.
Later, Sara. Thank you.
Bye.
So I'll get off my soapbox now. I've thought about this quite a bit. You know, there's a huge component to it. I'm like, they don't care about you. You're just a number. But to Erica or Michelle, you're Bob, you're Phil. They know about your family. They know your dog's name. They know that your shoulder hurts. All these things. They come they stay and coach you when everyone else decided not to come because there was a snowstorm. But you came in and they're there and they coach you one-on-one. And like, they care about you. It's a whole different thing. You don't get that with a lot of the online programming, that personalized touch, and it's super valuable.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, great talk. How are you guys doing on time? You guys doing okay?
Good. I do have to get going.
Okay. All right. Well, I think we've covered enough. We went a little bit longer than we had planned, but I think it was worth it. It was great to get to know you guys and let the community get to know you guys as well, you know, with all of our coffee preferences and corn, you know, soundtracks and all these things. Michelle, where can people follow you, and if they want to be your friend, all these things?
That's tricky. I have debated if I do a public page. So because of my line of work, it's not safe for me to be like anybody to follow me.
Oh yeah, we can skip that one then.
So yeah,
you can find her through the Buff City page if you want to get in contact with her.
Can always communicate and DM to the Buff City, and it will get to me. But personally, it can't just be anybody. I hate to say that, but it's just for my own safety.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Erica, where can people follow you? And of course, list off Buff City, Quarter Deck Athletics. How many Instagram
very
pages?
Public. But yeah, so my main Instagram is just like _Erica.Caso, CASO _. So that's just my personal page. I also post a lot of like nutrition content on there because I do nutrition coaching as well. So that's all on there. I have the Buff City page. You can find me or Michelle on there. I believe that's just Buff City _ Barbell. I think is how that one is, but it's linked on my page as well. And then if you're interested in CrossFit or anything like that, you can follow the Quarter Deck Athletics, and that's like quarter_deck_athletics. And that's the general gym page if you're interested in that. So, and we're in downtown Buffalo if you want to come check us out.
Very cool spot. We're in the Seneca One building, which is like, if you know Buffalo,
very fancy.
That's
Seneca One.
Yeah, there you go. And hey, stop in for a Bills game and do some lifting with Erica and Michelle as well. Let's
just not during the game. We're busy with the game.
Yeah.
Not during the game. We should shout out the individual teams too while we're at it. So Michelle, your weightlifting team, who is it, and can people follow them?
Yes, it's Avito Weightlifting. They're out of Albany, and I'm sure you can follow them. I don't have their handle memorized, but I'm pretty confident it's Avito Weightlifting.
Yep, it is. Yep. All right, cool. Erica?
Yeah, and then I am with a team in Rochester called Aegis Barbell. So that's with Brendan Cowell. He was with another team for a while, and then he was with Power and Grace for a while, and then broke off and started his own club, which is exciting. And so that Instagram is just aegis.barbell, and you can follow him. And Jules does a lot of the social media too, so they put up a lot of good content.
There we go. All right. So the listeners have like 70 Instagram handles. Look up. I'll do it for her. You can follow Sarasota at Sarasota Rep is the public page, for all things weightlifting. You can follow Murder Crows. We talked about Murder Crows. Follow me, James A. McDermott. Follow, of course, at New York Weightlifting, which is our WSO. And yeah, that's it. So, all right, guys, great. Thank you for coming on. Great talk. We'll have to get both of you on again for more conversations.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for having us. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, have a good rest of your day. We'll talk to you again really soon.
All right. Thanks.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Bye.
Later. Ending stream.